What is a character? Character is a heritable feature. Character is a feature which is inherited from the parents to the progeny. What are traits? The height of the stem of a plant is a character. The color of the seed, the shape of the seed is a character. These are inherited from the parents to the progeny. Now each character has two different variants, tallness and dwarfness. The color of the seed, it is a character, it has two different forms, two variants, two alternative forms, yellow seed and green seed. Shape of seed, round seed, wrinkle seed, these are the variants of the same character. These are the alternative forms of the same character. So these variants of a character are called the traits. The two different variants of each character, two or more different variants, alternative forms of a character are called the traits. The traits are represented by capital letter and small letter. Now, what are pure lines or true breeding lines? In the Mendel's procedure, you have learned Mendel self-pollinated pure lines for several generations. He self-pollinated pure lines for many generations continuously. What are pure lines? Pure lines means if a plant, for example, tall plant is self-pollinated, it produces tall plants. The progeny tall plants are self-pollinated, it also produces tall plants. Again, they are self-pollinated, they also produce tall plants. That means what? Continuous self-pollination in an organism, mainly a plant, produces same types of organisms, same types of offspring, generation after generation. Continuous self-pollination results in the formation of same types of organisms for many generations. That means continuous self-pollination results in expression of the same trait, expression, appearance, or inheritance of the same trait continuously for many generations. These are called pure lines. The tall plants produce tall plants continuously, generation after generation, if self pollination is done continuously. So these are called pure lines or true breeding lines. Now, what is a gene and what are alleles? Gene. Gene is the unit of inheritance or unit of DNA. Gene is responsible for inheritance and expression of a trait in an organism. Each gene is responsible for inheritance, expression, appearance of a particular trait in an organism. What are alleles? Two or more slightly different forms of the same gene are called alleles. Alleles are slightly different forms, the alternative forms of the same gene that codes for a particular trait. For example, a gene that codes for color of pea seed. There is a gene in the pea plant which is responsible for expression of color of the seed. This particular gene has two alternative forms. This particular gene exists in the form of two slightly different forms. Two slightly different forms, two alternative forms of the same gene are called alleles. A gene always exists in the form of two slightly different forms. Each gene exists in the chromosomes as two slightly different forms, two alternative forms. And these are called alleles. That means gene and alleles are the same. Gene exists in the form of alleles. The alleles may be similar or different. For example, a gene which is responsible for the expression of color of pea seed exists in two slightly different forms. One form is responsible for expression of yellow. Other form is responsible for inheritance and expression of green color. So these two alternative forms of the same gene are called alleles. One allele is responsible for the expression of yellow color. The other allele is responsible for the expression of green color in the seed. These two alleles occur in pairs. These two alleles occur in the form of a pair, in a paired chromosome in diploid organisms. So alleles are the slightly different forms of the same gene. Alleles occur in pair. All alleles occur in pairs in paired chromosomes in diploid organisms. The allele which is expressed in the F1 generation is called dominant allele. It is designated by capital letters, capital Y, yellow color, capital T, tallness of the stem, capital R, round seed. The allele which is hidden, which is not expressed in the F1 generation, but is expressed in the F2 generation, is called the recessive allele. Recessive allele is represented by small letters, small y, capital small t, small r. Please remember, in presence of dominant allele, recessive allele cannot be expressed. The dominant allele does not allow the recessive allele to be expressed. So recessive allele is not expressed if it is present with the dominant allele. Now, alleles occur in pairs. In diploid organisms, chromosomes occur in pairs. For example, in human, there are 46 chromosomes. The chromosomes are not scattered inside the nucleus of the cell. Chromosomes exist in the form of 23 pairs. 23 pairs of chromosomes. Chromosomes occur in pairs. So these are the paired chromosomes. These are the chromosomes which occur in pairs. Chromosomes carry alleles. You can see alleles are arranged in a linear order, in a linear fashion on the chromosomes. So these are the alleles. It is a pair of alleles. This is another pair. This is another pair. So alleles are present on the chromosomes in number in pairs. Chromosomes occur in pairs. Alleles also occur in pairs. Alleles also occur in pairs. Now, let us suppose in this pair of chromosome, this is a pair of alleles. One is responsible for yellow color, other allele is responsible for green color. So they are represented by capital Y, small y. There is another pair in the same chromosome. These two alleles are similar. It is responsible for yellow color of the seed. This is also responsible for yellow color of the seed. There is another pair of alleles in the same chromosome. One allele is responsible for round seed. The other allele is responsible for expression of wrinkle seed. Now please remember the two alleles are responsible for the expression of the same character, that is shape of the seed, color of the seed, color of the seed. Only alternative forms, two variants. These alleles are either dissimilar, capital Y, small y, or similar, capital Y, capital Y. This is another pair of chromosome. Let us suppose in this pair of chromosome, this is a pair of alleles. One allele is responsible for expressing tallness. The other allele is responsible for expression of dwarfness. But they are responsible for controlling the same character, height, the height of the stem. So height of the stem is controlled by a pair of alleles, capital T, small t. This is another pair of alleles in the same chromosome. Both alleles are same, they are similar. Both are responsible for expression of dwarfness, small t, small t. So each character is controlled by a specific gene, and the gene exists in the form of a pair of alleles. They occur in the paired chromosomes in the form of pairs. Alleles are paired. That is why in diploid organisms, whenever you want to represent a diploid organism, we represent by two letters. Capital Y, this is a diploid organism. It is a garden pea plant having yellow seed. If you consider only one character, color of the seed, you have to represent the plant by capital Y, capital Y. If the garden pea has yellow color, the two alleles responsible for color of the seed may be dissimilar, capital Y, small y, because in a pair of alleles, the alleles may be similar or dissimilar. So capital Y represents a diploid organism. In this case, it represents the garden pea plant having yellow seed. We are considering the color of the seed. So the alleles which are responsible for color of the seed are shown. Small y. This is another diploid garden pea plant. The alleles are the same, small y. They are responsible for the expression of color of the seed. Similarly, you can represent any diploid organism by two letters. Two letters mean a diploid organism. One letter means gamete. Now, capital Y. The alleles. If the alleles are similar, then the individual is called homozygous. If the two alleles controlling the trait are similar, capital Y, then this individual is called homozygous. If the two alleles controlling a trait are dissimilar, then the individual is called heterozygous. This is homozygous, this is heterozygous or hybrid, and this is homozygous. Alleles are similar. Please remember, by two letters, capital Y, capital T, capital R, small r, by two letters, we are representing a diploid individual. And by a single letter, we can represent the gametes, because these two letters are actually a pair of alleles. The two letters are actually a pair of alleles which occur in paired chromosomes. And when from a diploid organism, gametes are formed by meiosis, chromosomes remain. Chromosomes become unpaired. Number of chromosomes is reduced to half, and the paired alleles also become unpaired. They separate from each other. Chromosomes become unpaired, and the alleles they carry are also unpaired. The number of chromosomes is reduced to half. So whenever you see two letters, you must understand this is a diploid organism. The two letters actually represent a pair of alleles. which are paired. And when you see a single letter, capital Y, capital T, or small r, this means a gamete. Gamete is formed from a diploid organism. Gamete formation involves meiosis. Chromosomes are separated. Alleles are separated. So we represent gametes, which is a haploid, by single letter, and we represent a diploid organism by two letters. So this is homozygous, heterozygous, homozygous. Now if you represent an individual by two letters, capital T, small t, capital Y, capital R, small r, the two alleles are different. Two alleles are different. Then this kind of individual is called monohybrid. This kind of individual is called monohybrid. You can represent a monohybrid by two letters which are dissimilar. What is a dihybrid? If you want to represent a plant or an individual which shows two traits, an individual which is diploid but it shows two different traits, then you can represent the organism by this way: capital T, small t, capital Y, small y. This is a dihybrid individual. Dihybrid means an individual which is hybrid but it shows two different traits: the height of the stem and color of the seed. Capital R, capital Y, small y. This is a dihybrid. It shows two traits: shape of the seed and the color of the seed. But this is a monohybrid individual. It shows only one character: height of the stem. Capital Y, small y. This is a monohybrid individual. It shows only one character: the color of the seed. Capital R, small r, a monohybrid individual, because it shows only one trait: the shape of the seed. So these are monohybrids, these are dihybrids. Now what character will be expressed? If an individual is homozygous, both the alleles are similar, then the trait is expressed. Capital Y, capital Y. Capital letter stands for dominant trait. So dominant trait is expressed. Yellow color. Capital Y, it is expressed as yellow color of the seed. Small y, both the alleles are recessive. There is no dominant allele, so they are expressed. This homozygous individual is expressed as green color of the seed, because we are considering the color of the seed. That is why we are representing the individual by Y. If you consider the shape of the seed, you have to take the letter R. So small y, this is homozygous individual, and this individual is having green colored seeds. What about the hybrids or heterozygous individual, represented by two different alleles? The dominant allele will be expressed. Capital Y will be expressed. Heterozygous or hybrid individual expresses the dominant trait. So capital Y, small y, this is a garden pea plant which has yellow seed. This is yellow seed, yellow homozygous, yellow heterozygous, green homozygous, recessive. This is homozygous, dominant, heterozygous, dominant, homozygous, recessive.